What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another My Week With video. So this week I've been driving the 2024 Audi RS7 Performance. And so the Performance is a new version of the RS7 here for 2024. And it basically just gives you bigger turbos, more boost on this 4-liter twin turbo V8, and bumps horsepower by 30 and torque by 37. So now we have grand totals of 621 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque, and they also removed 18 pounds of sound deadening out of the Performance version here. So you're going to hear more of the engine, more of everything a little bit. And thankfully though, I've lived with this vehicle for a week already, and there's no downgrades as far as the refinement in my opinion. But I have been hearing more of the engine a little bit. I've been hearing more of the turbochargers and the whooshing and the whirring and all that, and that's the kind of noise you want to have added in. And so this one also thankfully is still on the air suspension, so it's been a nice comfortable ride this week as well, versus the new suspension you can also get, which is a fixed coil spring setup that also bundles in the carbon ceramics. I've read that that suspension can be pretty stiff, and although it's called the Sports Suspension Plus with dynamic ride control, you know, it's adjustable, but it's only 3-way adjustable dampers, and it's just going to be, you know, for those who really want a stiff ride and are going to track this or whatever. But for the average person, I think this air ride suspension is still definitely the way to go. It still is so comfortable, so smooth, but yet still so dynamic. You still have, you know, the adaptable suspension here in the air ride version, where it's able to still get firmer or softer, and these are just such great daily drivers. I think that's what I love about these compared to some of the other competitors that are maybe a little more hardcore. This is such an amazing vehicle just to cruise around in, even in comfort mode, just relax and cruise. It does all of that very, very well. And this one also has this $4,900 Bang & Olufsen stereo with 19 speakers and 1,820 watts. That also adds to a nice daily driver experience, having all of your favorite music being played here in such clarity and with such crispness, and just is a really great experience. And we're going to do a launch control acceleration here in a few minutes, so stay tuned for that. But as far as the other things here about it, so they did improve the handling a little bit, because they said they retuned the rear diff there to give you a more dynamic feel, and they also did retune the drive modes, they said. And the drive modes still, you know, the RS1 and RS2 modes, which still can be customized to have it exactly how you want it. And like, I love RS1 mode. I have everything in its sportiest setting, and then I have the suspension in its soft mode, which further adds that comfortable kind of experience with a daily driver, you know, capability of this, having, you know, exactly what you want being sporty and what you don't want not being sporty. But coming up some corners here I always take, I got into the RS2 mode here, which gives you sports stability control as well. And let's see how this thing handles. We're on these 22-inch wheels, and it still handles so well. I mean, Audi always just works absolute magic with their rear diffs, and it really helps these vehicles, you know, with the torque vectoring and all that it has, the rear wheel steer, which is standard here in the RS7. All of those things really help this to feel smaller and lighter than it is. And it's this huge thing that weighs almost 5,000 pounds. It's 4,961 pounds to be exact. But honestly, it feels like a slightly heavier Golf R or something with the way the handling is. It is so, it just shrinks around you. It doesn't feel like this long, elegant cruiser. It just feels like you're, again, in this like hot hatch on steroids almost, and I absolutely love it. I've already sung the RS7's praises in a full review back in 2021, but hearing this with the Performance version, it's, you know, just going to give you a little bit extra power. And you know, I'm on public roads here, and we've cut off the traffic, something you do very quickly in the RS7s. But you know, it's going to just be very dynamic no matter what, and I'm sure these little improvements certainly are improvements and are, you know, great to have. And the Performance trim, by the way, is the only way to get the RS7 here for 2024. There is no regular RS7 anymore. But I think this is a great evolution of the RS7 ever so slightly here, and I'm just glad this vehicle continues to stick around, and continues to stick around in its current form as well, with, you know, the new M5 coming here that's going to be, you know, well over 5,000 pounds. It sounds like, you know, this thing being under 5,000 is now like the lightweight version, the less complicated version, even though it has a 48-volt mount hybrid system, which never actually kicked off the engine this week outside of when I was fully stopped. So it didn't really act like a 48 volt system anyway, but regardless, it's just, you know, gonna be a simpler thing compared to the new M5 and what potentially Mercedes might have coming down the road with an E63 someday. And so as the years go on, I feel like the RS7 continues to have this more enduring charm to it that it didn't have before. But I'm gonna quickly do a little launch here and see how it does. Here we go. Oh man, yeah, this thing is so quick. So they did say that the 0 to 60 time dropped by 0.2 millisecond here for the performance version, now to 3.3 seconds 0 to 60 versus 3.5. But that's probably conservative because Car and Driver, even with the regular RS7, was able to get a 3 seconds 0 to 60. So this could potentially crack under 3 in the right hands. We'll have to see what their testing ends up bringing out. But I think others have gotten something in the mid 3s. It just comes down to, you know, the conditions and all that. But regardless, it's going to be very fast. And again, new M5 and all that might be faster, but this is still, we're talking about a 3 seconds 0 to 60 time. Still plenty of performance. No one's going to feel like this thing is slow. The one thing is with the performance package here, the top speed is still limited to 155 miles per hour. But if you get those carbon ceramic brakes and the stiffer suspension setup, if you combine all that stuff together, you will get a 190 mile per hour top speed. So that's going to be definitely you know, the way to get that higher top speed if you are someone who wants to do top speed runs. And I don't have the exact Maran for this vehicle, so I'm not able to confirm 100%, but I believe this has the sport exhaust, which is only a $1,000 option and well worth the money for the extra sounds that it provides. And I did enjoy it in the RS6 Avant last year as well. But what I've noticed is that it crackles and burbles a little bit more, I think, than what I remember from the non-performance RS7, you know. So I think that, again, I'm hearing a little bit more thanks to less sound deadening, but also that sport exhaust does give you some great sounds here. And we'll see with manual mode here. I'll roll the window down. It might not be super apparent, but it is. And also, I mean, accelerating there with the wheel turned, you know, it is still like so grippy, and you know, part of that comes out of these 22-inch wheels. You can't get 21s as standard, but these 22s are part of this matte carbon package that this one has, which gives you those black wheels. And you know, but it's a big wheel. It really makes an impression. You got these very narrow sidewalls on these Continental Sport tires, but yeah, this thing is so grippy, but it's just, it works wonders. You know, you would think something that is as big and heavy and luxurious as this is, that it, you know, wouldn't handle as well as it does. And some people like to beat up on Audi handling for some reason. I don't know why, because to me, they've always been so impressive, even if they don't have the ideal setup, even if the engine is a little farther forward than some people might like. To me, it's never held these cars back, at least on the street, maybe on track, but on the street here, these are just phenomenal. And yeah, this thing, it's just brutal. There's the crackles. And it's just, it's tasteful though, you know, it's not overboard. It doesn't sound aftermarket or anything, but it's just, it feels so good, sounds so nice. Nice tight corner here. That one usually provokes understeer in other vehicles. No such issues here in this. And again, I was impressed by all this stuff in the regular RS7 as well. It's just, you know, the extra power here in the performance version. And yeah, so that's why I didn't want to do a full review on this, because, you know, there's not a whole lot new to talk about. But the last couple of things I will briefly mention is the fuel economy I observed this week. So over my week of driving here, we'll go back and go into the comfort mode here and pull up my average fuel economy, which was 13.5 mpg. Now, these are rated 14 in the city, 22 on the highway, and 17 combined. And back into RS1 mode with the comfortable suspension, but still have that exhaust so you guys can hear these sounds for the rest of the video here. But, so, I mean, I'm almost at the city rating, and I did 0 highway driving basically this week. So this is like kind of a worst case scenario fuel economy. You know, I was sitting in a drive-through line at one point, and, you know, getting on this and having fun and all that, but also doing some relaxed driving too. But still, 13.5 is what you can get. It's a twin-turbo V8 with over 600 horsepower and all the luxury you can imagine, I mean, you know, that just comes with the territory. So I don't think anyone that's paying these prices is going to care. And getting to the pricing, the last thing there, the pricing of these has continued to go up over the years, and like everything else, but these start still around the like 125 range, but this one, as tested, I believe is right around $150,000. I think it's like 155 or so. And at that 150 grand price point, I mean, it's expensive. You know, the only thing I will say is if you want a wild, luxurious, you know, cruiser, the Cadillac CT5e Blackwing does undercut this significantly, even with it's like 11 grand in carbon fiber options you can add on to that. Those still max out around like 122 or so, comparably equipped to this, and you can get Super Cruise available in that if you go for the automatic version, which gives you truly hands-free driving, something this doesn't offer. They still actually make you pay extra for even adaptive cruise control. It's still like 2,500 bucks for adaptive cruise, and even like blind spot monitoring and stuff you still got to pay for. Like, they really nickel and dime you, and even, you know, Toyota and Mazda and companies like that are throwing in all this stuff for free. You know, you still got to pay extra for it in an Audi. Now, if you want the simplicity, it's nice that you don't have to have all that safety tech if you don't want it. But it just seems kind of odd they don't throw that in when you're talking about a $150,000 vehicle. But regardless, the Cadillac, even fully loaded, is $122,000 like that, and you can get it with a manual transmission. Now, you don't have the extra practicality of the RS7 here. You don't have the all-wheel drive with its extra practicality either. So, you know, there's some compromises, and it's not going to be a perfect comparison for everyone. But you know, that's a supercharged V8. It's its own version of insanity and bonkers, and if it were my money, I'd probably spend it on something like that. But if you live in a place where you see bad weather, you want the extra practicality, the extra luxury, which I will admit the Audi certainly is more luxurious than the Cadillac. You know, just this got double pane windows, and this one has the executive package, so we have the leather covered dashboard, soft closed doors, and you know, all those extra little luxury features here. And so you know, this certainly has that extra layer of polish on it compared to the Cadillac. And so, you know, for the extra 25 grand or so, you know, that might be well worth it to some people. But I will add one last thing, is as much as I love the RS7, I think I personally would go for the RS6 Avant that I reviewed last year, because that gives you even more practicality and kind of puts it in a more fun shape with a regular wagon, something that is so rare here in the States. And so, and it's mechanically identical and drives, you know, identically basically. So if it were my money, you know, and I wanted to spend the extra for the Audi here, I think I would certainly go for the RS6 Avant, which, funny enough, is actually $1,000 cheaper than this for some reason. But anyway, yes, I absolutely love the RS7 Performance. Highly recommend if you have the money for one of these. I still just love it. And again, if you're someone who doesn't love all the new tech in the, you know, M5, if you don't want just the screen overload we see these days, I really like the extra simplicity you have here with, you know, two screens that are still nice, still high resolution, still has all the luxury you want, but, you know, doesn't go overboard, so has some physical controls here a little bit. And, you know, it's just, I know, to me, I think the Audi kind of is getting more appealing as the years go on here, and I hope they keep these around for a while. We do know, you know, there's going to hopefully be another little refresh potentially, and, you know, new versions that are, you know, probably going to be electric and stuff down the road, but hopefully this sticks around in this current form for a little while longer, because it is still just so magical, so much fun. But I'll leave you guys with one little acceleration here, and then we will sign off. And here we go. Man, and I love the front nose lifts up, and it has all the right kinds of drama. Absolutely love this thing. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Huge thanks to Audi for providing me here with the RS7 Performance to review for you guys today. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.